So I just finished texting one of my good friends, Akil, and my friend Akil, he's in college right now. His last year in college. His major is production. He wants to, film, be a filmer, edit, and do things like that. Kind of just, just in the production field, things like that. And we've been talking, and we spoke last month as well, just on this idea. But since we were texting, I just wanted to kind of just make a video of it because I think it could add value to you. And we were talking because, like I said, it's his last year in school, and he really doesn't know how to edit yet. He's learned a few things here and there. As far his eyes gotten better, as far as what does it take to create a good film and a good story, and what should go here and how transitions are conceptually, but practically he doesn't really know how to edit. Like, so if you put him in the editing room, he wouldn't be able to do it, but he could tell if it's good or not. And all I really had to say to him was, "That's a shame. You've been to school for 3, 4 years now, and you still don't know how to edit. And half of it is his fault, and half of it is university's fault. And I'll tell you why. First, university. Half of it is university's fault because he's taking classes at the school and he still doesn't know how to edit after 3, 4 years. Well, there's something wrong with the curriculum there. I mean, obviously, the proof is in the pudding that if someone spends 4 years of tuition money at a school and they still don't have the skill set that they embarked on in the first place, then well, that's pretty much robbery if you ask me. But it's also his fault. And this is what I told him. At some point you have to take responsibility for what you know and what you don't know. And after a year, 2 years, 3 years, you should have been like, hey, I haven't gotten any better in editing. If I would apply for my dream job, he wants to work at ESPN. Well, he couldn't get hired right now because he doesn't know how to fucking edit. So I said, hey, after year 1, 2, 3, you have to realize that you haven't gotten closer to your end objective by any means. Yeah, you know a little bit about, transitions and storyboarding and what order things should go in. But practically, someone would be a damn fool to hire you because you couldn't do anything for them. And at some point, you gotta be like, hey, yeah, I am in the university, but it's not enough. And this is kind of the same revelation I have when I dropped out. I dropped out last year in 2015 from Seton Hill University. I was 21 at the time. And I had the same revelation. I was like, hey, I've been to the University of Oregon, you know, eh, freshman year, a lot of prerequisites, didn't really learn much. I went to a little small school because I was playing football. Football is kind of my main thing, is why I was in school. But nonetheless, I was taking business classes and entrepreneurial classes. And, after University of Oregon, I went to a small school in Delaware, Delaware Tech, Wilmington, Delaware. Uh, and those classes, again, it was like a small community college type of school. So it was no better than, it was no better than Oregon. Didn't really learn much, I had a couple of sales classes and stuff, but actually, what I remember, I couldn't tell you. And then after Delaware, that's when I got my scholarship to go to Seton Hill, and I was at Seton Hill for a year and a half, and just got worse. You would think at a university it'd be better than community college, but I'll tell you, one thing I've learned from going to so many schools and community colleges and things, unless you're really going, again, this is going to be controversial, but unless you're at like Harvard or Yale or one of those type Ivy League schools, for the most part, university or community college or whatever, it is what you make of it. Because at the end of the day, it's the same thing. You have a professor. He's not there to teach you. He's there to guide you in the right direction. They give you a book, and you're on your own. And if you're smart, you take advantage of office hours, build a relationship, so they can throw you a few extra points here and there. But for the most part, man, school is what you made of it. And it wasn't much. People go to school because they think, okay, I'm going to go to university and somebody's going to teach me these things, walk me step by step. But that's not how university is at all. They give you a fucking book, tell you read it. And, long story short, I started to realize that when I got to Senior Hill, my third college, I was like, hey, after 3 years, I haven't met a mentor of any sort. Out of 3 schools and many professors, I haven't saw or met a professor who lived the life that I want to live, who ran a business that I would have wanted to run, and who could really teach me something. I haven't learned anything in 3 years. So what I decided to do, and again, this also goes on with a lot of football stuff that was, in the background. I said, hey, I have to take responsibility for my life. And, I did the school thing. I went, it was an experiment. It's not working. That's where a lot of people fall short. They don't look at things as an experiment. They think as school is hard, steady fast is the way to go. But at the end of the day, everything is just an experiment. So I went to college. And again, I have my opinions in college, but I would never recommend somebody not go. I think you go for at least a year. Experiment. And for me, and for what I was trying to do, and for business, the professors I was learning from, and just the curriculum as a whole, it just wasn't up to date, it wasn't adequate. I wasn't learning nothing that was really going on. I work for one of the best marketers in the world now. I didn't learn anything about marketing at all. Like, I didn't even learn the concept of providing value for free before you ask somebody to pay for a product. I didn't even learn that. I learned that on my own. So my last semester before I dropped out, I bought a few online courses from, again, my boss and some other people. And I was realizing I was learning a lot more by buying courses from people who've actually, I was learning a lot more from buying courses from people who actually done it than I was reading out of a fucking textbook and going to classes that were taught by people who haven't done it. So I was like, okay. And this semester, I've learned more in these courses I've bought than my 4 or 5 classes I was taking. There's no reason for me to be in school anymore. It's not working. So that's why I tried to tell my friend to kill. What you're doing is not working. Now, I'm not going to say drop out because you're a year away from getting your degree. Your parents are, traditional. So every situation is different. I was blessed where I had a mother and father who, although did want me to stay in school, I wasn't raised where I was kind of micromanaged. So even though they were disappointed and wanted me to stay in school, they supported my decision, and they helped me buy more courses. Again, half of it is because they were, good parents, and the other half because I'm a little bit persuasive. But what I told the kid was, hey, man, stay in school, that's fine. But you need to find editors around, because I live in LA now because I work, but I still go back and forth from New York to LA. And I was like, hey, man, again, I mentioned to you guys that I'm starting like a fitness business where I'm making, some products, selling some products, and, making a lot of cool workout videos. I was like, hey, I just hired an editor to edit some of my workout videos. Why don't you ask him? Again, I was throwing ideas at him. And I was like, this was last month. I said, hey, why don't you ask him if you could help on some of his projects or even our project? And if he's a little bit hesitant, why don't you pay him? Listen here. Why don't you pay him to work for him? Whoa, they won't tell you that in school, but that's how you learn. That's how you get better. You go to people who have the talent that you want to have, who are living the life that you want to live, who have the career that you want to have, and you try to attach yourself to them. Hopefully by volunteering, and if not, shit, pay them. Fucking pay them to learn. Nobody's doing that shit. Do you think, I'm at a different stage in my life because I've had fortunate to learn a lot about digital marketing and just marketing as a whole and business. And a lot of people try to reach out to me, and I'm fucking busy. Do you think I'm just gonna sit here and mentor somebody at this stage of my life? Absolutely fucking not. And a lot of people are that way. They're busy. So, yeah, there might be a few guys who like the company, enjoy the company, and really don't have a lot of stuff going on outside their work. And yeah, they'll let you volunteer. But, sometimes, or for more, whatever, find a way to attach yourself to them. I told him that last month. And, I think something really started to sink in because he realized, okay, yeah, he didn't learn much. And number two, the only way he's gonna get better is by learning from people who are actually good. Boom. So that brings us to our conversation yesterday, which was he took my advice. That's kind of the best thing in the world when you give somebody advice and they actually follow it. But he followed me up on my word, and he asked around, and it turns out one of his other friends, again we have different set of friends, but one of his other friends, his brother, is a great editor. Good portfolio, good work, and he was like how he's gonna start coming to New York on weekends and learning from his friend's brother how to edit and kind of sitting in the room with him and kind of doing the same approach that I did. I dropped out and I found a job with somebody that has the lifestyle that I want to live and has the skill sets that I wanted to acquire. Now he's not going to drop out obviously, but he's going to spend more time with somebody who's actually where he wants to be. And that's the problem with school. You're learning editing from a lot of people who aren't that good of editors. You're learning business from people who haven't ran a business. So how they gonna lead you to the promised land? Would you rather be on a team coached or ran by Michael Jordan or the guy from the pickup place down the street? It's just a simple concept. It's a simple concept. And yeah, so that's the conversation that I had with him, and I'm glad he took me up with my advice. But I thought that this kind of conversation would add some value to you guys and what you're trying to accomplish. So, go find people who are where you want to be and try to attach yourself to them. And the kicker is, a lot of people gonna say no, man. And I'm far from where I want to be, but some people look up to me and how I made it out the projects and the different obstacles I've had. But right now in my life, I would say no. And it's not to discourage anybody, but that's just the reality of the situation. Not everybody's ready to take on a mentee, so you have to look at it from their perspective. So gather a list of about 10, 20 names, and hopefully one of those 20 will say yes. But you have to have the stomach to realize, hey, the world doesn't revolve around you. Now, you're trying to get somebody to improve your life, and that's good. You should do that. You should look out for your best interest. But remember that everybody's not looking out for your best interest. So people will say no, and you just got to keep pushing. And that's business in itself, right? Sales. People are gonna say no. Nobody in this world has 100% closing rate. So if you don't have the stomach to find somebody that could dramatically change your life, then maybe you don't deserve it. But it's worth giving it a shot. Just like I gave it a shot. Just like Akil's giving it a shot. So go give it a shot. Leave a comment below. Like the video. And leave a comment below. Do you have a list of 10 to 20 names of people that you could reach out to who are living the life you want to have and have the skill set that you want to acquire? And if not, how are you going to go about searching for these people? I'd love to hear your answers below. And if you have any additional questions, make sure drop them down.